Hello, my name's Lynn and my business is Red Kite Coaching Solution. Today's video is about how to stay connected with youngsters even at a time when they allegedly don't seem to want you, but I can assure you definitely still do need you. I think it's first of all we need to acknowledge that for some youngsters they're going to just stay connected whatever, from the young years right through the adolescent years and through into adulthood. Then there's a group of youngsters for whom that if you like, pulling away from you, that not really getting what you're about as a parent anymore is gradual over 6 to 12 months as they start secondary school. And for others that can be quite late, maybe at the age of 13, 14, even 15, but appears to happen overnight. And I think what we do need to acknowledge is that for some parents, it's almost like a bereavement here. The child that you had seems to be dead and gone, and here you are with a teenager that doesn't seem to want to have anything to do with you. You do have to acknowledge, that this is going to be a tricky time keeping your emotions in check, whilst at the same time having to do with seemingly, unmanageable, unreachable, untouchable behaviours. And we're all tempted to say, if only we could just go back to the way things were, life was great. Well, unfortunately, that's not the way it works. You have to go forwards. This is the rocky road to independence, and it's up to us really how we get through that over time with the support of other people. So where do we start with all of this? Well, as I've said, the first thing you have to do is to look after your own emotions. And I think you have to acknowledge too that yours can be a situation that is made worse if you're worrying about either resentment because of all the effort that you put in and your teenager doesn't seem to acknowledge any of it, and the other one, which is rejection. And rejection is really quite a difficult one to manage. Anyway, what can we do to try and make the situation just a little bit more bearable for ourselves? There are 3 things that I want to share with you today. The first of these is about things that you can do together. The second is to have a look at things that you can talk about. And the third way is getting the opportunity to show affection, show that you still care for your child. So let's start with the first one, things that you can do together. I know from bitter experience that this is not an easy one to do, but you know what? Cars are marvellous things, as are dogs actually, and these can provide brilliant opportunities for just having a little bit of crossover time. When you're in the car, of course, you don't have to be looking head on at each other, and you've got a whole world out there that you can comment on and then just see if that sparks a little bit of interest, a little bit of communication. It's quite easy in the car to say, gosh, look at her, or what's he doing? Naturally, a lot of the time your child is just going to grunt, but you've got to get your Teflon coat on and just rise above it, okay? So the other one was the dog, as I suggest. If you don't have a dog, never mind, but you get the idea. Anyway, what can you talk about? Well, I know for one that us as parents are always wanting to find out how school went. That's a no-no. To be honest, what we need to be thinking about are random things or open questions such as, oh, how was your lunch today? Or you said yesterday that Mrs. So-and-so was off sick. Is she back in today? How did she look? And obviously I know that these aren't things that your teenager's going to be desperately interested in. You can also say, by the way, I'm happening to cook something tonight that is one of your favourites. Again, don't be surprised if your teenager just grunts back or barely looks at you. That brings me on to the third point. Do show your teenager that despite everything, you're there for the duration and that you still care. I can provide you with an example that my daughter doesn't mind me sharing. My eldest girl, she was a very difficult young lady during those teenage years, kind of went from being quite lovely, if you like, to being, I don't know, almost like Vicky Pollard. And as I said, she has agreed to allow me to talk to you about her. During the teenage years, it was hard to keep connected, but one of the things that I did during her exams was to provide her with a Cadbury's cream egg every single day. Now, strangely enough, I know that's not going to go well down well with the dentist, but you know, something has to give in this situation. We've talked about it since then, and strangely enough, she said to me, yep, that was really something that you did, and I'm sorry I didn't even acknowledge you at the time. So looking back now, I'm glad I kept connected. Anyway, there's just a few ideas for you to try out. Let me know what you think, and please get in touch if you've got something else that's on your mind that you'd like me to discuss.